$40,000. It was in 1999, in the summer. We wanted so much to buy for the orphanage a farm and a tractor. We wanted to have our own land to plant corn and to plant vegetable gardens, to have our own fruits and vegetables, to have our own pickles, cucumbers, tomatoes, and peppers. And we found in Romania a lot of land for the farm, a few acres of land, and a second-hand tractor, but we needed $40,000 for the land and for the tractor. And we prayed and prayed, but the Lord says, it is like so easy. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you can ask whatever you want and it will be given to you. And the Lord Jesus tells us, but when you put it into practice, it's often difficult. So we prayed and we waited on the Lord and prayed for $40,000 for the farm and for the tractor. And money didn't come. One day, a friend of ours in Waynesboro, she came to ask us for a request. She said, as you know, my husband goes in bars and smokes and he doesn't pay for groceries, and I have a hard time paying for food and filling the freezer. And she said, I know that you go to buy things for the containers for Romania. When you go in shops, can you see and watch and see if they have pork shoulder bacon, smoked? Because my husband, all my family likes this very much, and my freezer is completely empty. So she said, the super shops, you know, Martin and all these shops, Super Fresh, they often have this smoked shoulder meat reduced even to 99 cents. It's called ham, shoulder ham, and it's very delicious. So you don't need to cook it, or you can cook it, you know. So we heard our sister, because we loved Sue. We have been friends for many years. And we said, okay, Sue, anytime we go out, we're going to look for pork meat for you, for him. Well, in 2 days, we prayed, me and Stephen, and said, Lord, Sue has been given to us her tithe, you know, $100 or more. Once she gave us $500. And you say that if we give to you our tithe and offerings, you give us back a full measure, pressed, shaken, and running over. We pray, please, Lord, I pray, make that for Sue. Help us to find this ham that she needs. So Stephen said, I go to the post office and to the bank. And why don't I drop you at Martin shop? And you can look to help Sue to find this ham. I went in the shop and I got, you know, a big cart, as these shops have huge carts. And I pushed it back and I went to the pork section. I was not familiar with the pork section because we do not eat pork, being a Jew. We do not eat pork, we do not eat unclean fish. So I was no specialist about pork. But I went there to help our friend. And I was praying and I was praying, and I could not believe my eyes. it was exactly what she described as delicious shank, pork shank, smoked in vacuum packages. Some 2-3 pounds, some 4 pounds, but the price was not 99 cents, it was 69 cents. So I couldn't believe my eyes. So I thought, that's incredible. But as I was trying to get all this ham to put it in a cart, a man appeared from the back door. He was a man who was, supplying the shop and doing all sorts of things in the meat section. He came and started in front of me to put coupons. And the coupons means $3 off, $3 off, $3 off. I couldn't believe my eyes because some of the prices were just, $3.50. So they were putting these coupons, reduction $3, reduction $3. And I couldn't believe my eyes, so I said, so that means this ham is going to be very cheap. And the man said, the boss told me to do that, and it's very good fresh ham, they said. But then I asked him, how much can I buy? Is it a limit? Oh, we don't care, you can buy it all. Okay, that was the only thing I needed to hear. I quickly grabbed all the ham in vacuum packs and put it in my cart. And I filled the cart. Not only that, in order to put 2 more packages, I put my bag on my shoulders. I usually put my bag, my purse in the cart, on that place. But I put the purse on my shoulder, and so I put a few more packages. I got all of it. And I pushed the cart. It was very heavy. I pushed the cart to the cashier. In the meanwhile, Stephen came. And I told him, look, how much the Lord loves you. And he answers our prayers. So he quickly helped me to put all the ham on the belt. And this lady was taking $3 off, $3 off. So this is 65 cents. And this was in 96, and this is $1, but somewhere for free. So I was joking with Stephen. I said, maybe the cashier will have to give me money. And then the total was for maybe 200 pounds of ham, $13.64. We couldn't believe our eyes, and we shouted, hallelujah. And we took the ham, we took it straight to our friend, and she filled her freezer. And she had meat for 2 years. And that was a wonderful, sweet experience. But then I had another experience in Waynesboro, a faith experience. My family, my brother that was imprisoned for Bibles in Romania and suffered very much in Romania, he had been living in California and wanted to visit us with his wife and his 3 children. And they arrived one day to us. I quickly looked in my freezer, and I knew that I have everywhere I have food. I like to have lots of food. I had frozen chicken, I had frozen fish, frozen turkey, all sorts of French fries, ice cream. But I did not have bread. So I told Stephen, you need to drop me at Super Fresh. Super Fresh was a shop that was closer than Martin. It was like maybe a mile away, and Martin was 2-3 miles away. Stephen went to the bank as usual, and then to the post office, and I went in the shop. Now, we liked always to have a life of faith and not to use credit cards. All our lives we used the money the Lord gave us, so we paid with cash. I went in the shop and I prayed, Lord, please help me to find bread, a good price, because I don't want to spend a lot of money on bread. In the shops, Super Fresh, they used to have a place, a cart, with 1 day old bread, or the bread from the morning. And if it is 1 day, or like old bread, they consider it, it is much cheaper. It is 3 times cheaper. I quickly went into that direction because I used to buy many times my food there. I went in the cart that was reduced bread, and I found what I wanted. It was bread reduced from $2 to 70 cents, 69 cents. That's a very good price. Italian bread, my family likes Italian bread. So I put in my cart all the bread that was there on sale. So I thought I would freeze some, and we will eat at least a loaf a day, as we will be here, a lot of Romanians. I put all the bread, and I counted there were 14 loaves of Italian bread. So I needed to pay, more than $10. I was going towards the cashier, so I thought I might as well prepare my cash. I am a poet, and I'm not tied in my purse. I have money scattered all over the purse. And Stephen often counts my money. So I often have a lot of money in my purse, because I just drop them in my purse and you don't count them, and Stephen organizes them, I looked in my purse, and all I found was $1.40 in 10 cents each. But I was very stubborn. I always lose money in my purse. because I have so many pockets. I'm going to look in every pocket. Inside out, I looked in my purse. There was nothing more than $1.40. So I said, Lord, you need to help me because I don't have any other cash. I don't have credit card. You need to help me. And I was pushing the cart in the shop, in the aisles, and praying quietly, Lord, help me. You're not going, Lord, to put me to shame for $10. So I said, Lord, I pray. Send somebody who knows me, because we spoke in many churches, and sometimes people meet us in the shops and they give us, and they say, Genovieva, here is $20. I want you and Stephen to go and eat a very good meal in a restaurant. It happens that. So I was praying and said, Lord, please, may it happen that. Well, I prayed and I pushed my cart from one island to the other. But I heard an angel speaking to another angel in my back. Many times when I counted my pennies to buy something in the shop. Other times it happened that I heard a voice behind me telling me Jehovah loves her. And this time it was like an angel speaking with another angel. Jehovah loves her. But I said, Lord, I know that you love me, but I really need $10 right now.
I had set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose life that both you and your descendants may live.
So I was pushing my cart right and left. Nobody came for the next 20 minutes. So I decided to go because my family was waiting at home, I decided to put the bread on the belt. I decided, like Peter, to walk on water because he said, Lord, I would like to walk on water. So the Lord said, okay, come on. And he did walk on waters. And anyway, I put the 14 loaves of bread on the belt. Then, I just casted my care upon the Lord. And at that time, the cashier changed. And I thought, well, the Lord will have a little bit more time to give me money. But the cashier that changed, I was Rita, and I never knew her, I didn't know her at all, except that I shopped many times in that shop, Super Fresh. And once somebody told me that she had cancer and she went through chemotherapy. So when I looked and I saw there was nobody, no customers. I said, I want to pray for you because the God, one of his names is Jehovah Rapha. And if you allow me, I want to lay hands on you and pray. And she was very happy that I prayed for her. And then she said, she asked me, how are you? And I asked her, how are you, Rita? And she said, I feel much better. And then she said, Genovieva, what do you have there? Because she was the cashier. So she said, she counted them 14 loaves of bread, 69 cents each. But then she said, I am in charge of the bakery today. I can make any reduction I want. So I really would like, what about if I make it 10 cents a loaf? So she pressed 10 cents multiplied with 14. And he told me, your total man is $1.40. And so I said, it's wonderful, Rita. I can pay in cash right away. It was already counted, so I gave her the money. I didn't tell her. I shouted, hallelujah. So the Lord gave us faith and answered many prayers. But now it was $40,000 that we needed. Stephen said, you see, we have to go, as usual, we have to go in Indiana. Every year, the radio station invites us to share faith experiences, and then people invite us in churches, and then we can get some support towards this $40,000. But from the radio stations, we usually did not receive a lot of support, only invitations to speak. Because you see, people drive in the car, they wash dishes, they are at work. You know, they don't have time to write down your address, you know, but at least you become known. We went, packed up our car, and drove to Fort Wayne for our annual radio interview. We went to the hotel. When we arrived at the radio station, they told us, to our shock, that Sarah Binkley, who was the director of the station, always had great favor with the listeners, you know. She was a loved lady. You know, she was not there, she was sick. So we thought, well, what a blow, Sarah Binkley is sick. But then we were introduced to this Brother Jim, who was to take the interview from us. He was very warm, very sweet. He played on the radio station Zion Choir singing, asked me to tell them some stories from Romania because many listeners were new. Anyway, we finished the interview and Jim asked Stephen, what do you want the listeners to pray for? And Stephen said, we want to buy a farm and a tractor in Romania. That's our greatest prayer request. So the children can learn to live from the farm and learn to work, and they learn to admire God's creation, the cows and the sheep and the goats.
Adonai,
And the interview was finished. But then the lady who usually receives you and, takes you out of the radio station, the receptionist said, Genovieva and Stephen, there is a lady who absolutely wants to see you, and she's waiting for you outside. We went outside, and it was, of course, it was very hot. There was no trace of the shade, so I thought, it is hot. My husband is going to melt down because he's an Englishman. I'm stronger with the heat, but Stephen melts down like an ice cream. So this lady, her name was Elizabeth, was an old friend of ours because we stayed many times overnight in their home, and they were very generous, though they were not poor. Though they were not rich, they bought the most expensive clothes for the children of Romania. So we used to go to 420 radio and stay with them, and then they would load our car with clothes and shoes and very beautiful things. And we always prayed for them that God would reward them and bless them. Now, this lady came and said, as you know, I am a technician for a dentist, and we heard the interview on the radio. And I asked my doctor, please let me go to the studio, to the radio station, to give Genovieva a hug and Stephen, because they are very good friends of ours. And the doctor said, okay, you can go, but you have to be back in half an hour. It was close to the radio station, the dentist cabinet. So she came and said, you have to come and listen to what I want to say. I thought maybe, somebody was sick or they had a great need in the family. But it was the opposite. She said, 1 year ago, you came in our home and asked us, what do you want us to pray for you? And we told you that we feel there is a curse of poverty on us. Her husband was a farmer and wanted to buy so much land, more land. He said, I would like to sow seed from morning to evening. I'm a passionate farmer. I would like to harvest from morning to evening. But my land is small, my tractor not too good. I don't even have, warehouse for the crops. Everything is old and so on. And he said, I would like to buy land, but the land is very expensive in this area. And we told them, you kneel down and pray with us and ask God to forgive your ancestors for sins they committed that brought poverty in your life. And they, on their knees in the field, we put them to ask for forgiveness for anything that their ancestors might have sinned against God, that opened the door to Satan to steal from their money. And we went through confession, and they asked God, forgive us, forgive us, forgive our ancestors. And then we said, we break the curse and bless you. And may the angels of blessing be upon your money and upon your life. May you be able to buy land and tractors. Well, 1 year later, they said something incredible happened. Our neighbor, they said, was old and died. Before he died, he put everything that he owned, 400 acres of land, a house, barns, combines, very expensive tractors, everything he put in our name, and also paid for the inheritance, because we were the only people who took care of him. He was an old man, and he had a distant nephew, but he didn't care that he was sick, and so he made this will and gave them to Elizabeth and David. So he said, overnight we became very rich. And he paid for the taxes, for inheritance taxes. So they said we calculated that we received at least $400,000 in this inheritance. And they immediately said, we decided to give you a tithe. And we have a check. She gave us a check signed with great love by her husband. $40,000. We couldn't believe. She didn't know anything. That's exactly what we needed to buy a farm and our own tractor in Romania. And we were so happy. We went home and wired the money and bought the farm, and that went very well in the farm, and that produced crops for almost 1,000 children for the years to come.